we're obviously you feel the vibe in the air, like there's messing going on.
He starts
There's
talking,
messing going on.
which he probably will talk a lot.
Yeah.
There he does.
Speed round.
We're kind of like here, like partly to talk about channeling. And so it occurred to me that I could give you all a bit of paper and a pen. And at the beginning, you could write down something that you'd like to get information on, something that you'd like, maybe a question or a request, or something that you'd like to channel about. And then later on, we will do a bit of actual channeling.
Actual channeling.
Actual channeling. What do you reckon?
Who's doing the channeling now? Is
They are.
They're doing it. Okay, we don't have to do anything. You can do it.
No point. And like if you go for driving lessons, you don't want them to sit in the car with you forever, do you? No, you don't.
Oh, that is so. Imagine having to channel though in the top. I've seen you did it years ago in Buddhabag. You remember when you were only starting out?
Yeah.
I mean, sitting in a room and just like, hoping it comes true. I mean, now it's different for you, okay?
Well, the thing is, like, you're always channeling. Like,
Yeah.
we were just talking before we started about our friend Sophia, and she is a breatharian, so she's, I suppose, vibrating at a really high frequency all the time. But she was talking about how we're conscious beings and we're souls in human form, but we're tuning into thoughts that are not necessarily, they're not ours at all. They're just thoughts. And so we think, oh, that's my thought. It's not your thought. Mine. I made that up. But actually you didn't make it at all. It's not, there's no such thing as really an original thought. So we're just latching on to thoughts, and that we attract a whole bunch of them together that are like, they sort of match each other or they resonate. Like if everyone's like here and it's kind of exciting to be here. So we might be having thoughts of, this is fun, or this is interesting, or wonder what's going to happen, or, nice kind of thoughts, or maybe somebody's having really shit time already and think, yeah, I wish I hadn't come out, I should stay home, whatever. But you know what I mean? The thoughts tend to clump together, and so you are channeling. You just think you're not. You think you're just thinking. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. There's a bit of music coming through.
Yeah, that's at the end.
Who's that? Brendan, where's the music coming from? It's turning into a comedy show. I'm drinking a cup with lipstick on it.
Brian, put mushrooms in the chai. You put mushrooms in the chai.
He put mushrooms in his chai?
In all the chai. He put mushrooms in the chai.
Okay. We better get this show on the road, yeah? Okay, that's a real Irish expression, isn't it? Show on the road. So we're going to get a stage at some point, because it's kind of tricky, isn't it? To see us. Or maybe we'll levitate or something tonight so you can see us in the back. So yeah, okay. So before we start, what will we do? Yeah, well, let's.
Joke. It's whatever you want. Who wants a joke?
Oh no.
Who wants a meditation?
They're all jokes, really. Like it's. So before we start, we're going to do a short meditation. Okay. Okay. Who hands up has meditated before? Oh, they're all spiritual heads. Look at them.
They are, yeah.
They're mad
really
into the
bad
spiritual stuff, aren't they?
This is really bad. It's too boomy.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah.
The two microphones are facing each other, I think.
What's happening? Oh, is that?
They're not on.
They're not on.
They're for show.
Is it still echoey? Yeah. Yeah.
Barely on the feedback.
Yeah. Usually it settles down. We'll see. If it's annoying, we'll go on those ones. Let's see. Does that make any difference? Yeah. So we're going to meditate. Yeah, you ready? So feel comfortable on your seat. Feel your feet on the ground. Oh, now I feel like, the local parish priest.
Hello.
Very welcome,
Hello.
lads, to the
How are
community
you?
centre.
Number 22. Who's got number 22? She's got number 22.
Great that Sister Fidelma was able to join us tonight. We'll have sandwiches at the entrance. Right? That's a hilarious act. It's like the Unbelievables or something. Huh? Oh yeah, cake sale.
Oh, can I just say, I have the merch desk down the back so you can buy your gifts on the way out.
Oh, yes.
Down the back there.
Beautiful scarves.
Beautiful.
There tonight. Hats and everything and scarves. Okay, so we better meditate, lads, or it's gonna be bad. Okay, so you ready? So feel your feet on the ground and feel that sense of hilarity in your body. Everybody's up for a bit of messing tonight for some reason. So just go in, drop from your head and go into your heart center and just feel around in there, see what you find. And just get a sense of that, the difference between thinking and what you're doing now is feeling. So you're feeling into your heart center. And just get a real sense of a kind of a light switching on in your heart center. And that light is the light of appreciation. Just appreciation for life, appreciation for bring a person to mind, someone you love, a pet, whatever it is that gets you into that lovely appreciation spot. And just kind of well it up in your heart center. And see that appreciation going around all your cells in your body, lighting you up. And just feel it now. Feel appreciation for, you know, just your body, how it keeps you healthy, how it does all the things, keeps you breathing. You know, it's doing a lot of stuff in the background. Say thanks. And now take that energy of appreciation and beam it around the room from your heart center. Just beam the energy of appreciation and light all around the room. And let's collectively imagine the room filling up now with a beautiful white light. And we're all kind of encased in it. And as you're doing that appreciation, remember everybody else in the room is doing it. So feel into their frequency now. Collective frequency of appreciation. And now we're just going to beam that frequency out into Dublin City and out into the world. Just feel how good that feels, you know, to be the, you get to decide what frequency you want to emit, irrespective of what's happening around you. You just did it there. So send that frequency of love, appreciation, kindness out into the world. See the light leaving the building, going into the streets all around. Touching off people, cars and bars, wherever they are, lighten them up. And now feel the connection between us all as we bring that energy back into our heart center. Feel your legs on the ground. Feel your feet on the ground. And just before we finish, just feel yourself surrounded in this white light. We'll keep it with us for the night to keep the frequency high and keep that feeling between us all. And see your heart light up again. Feel your feet grounded. Feel yourself back in your body 100%. You're here now in the present moment. And open your eyes whenever you're ready. And you know, our guest tonight is sitting beside me, as you can see, and she's just a legend, really. And it's Victoria Mary Clarke. She's been with us a couple of times, and tonight we're going to just talk about so many cool topics. And yeah, those flowers are a bit
Manky, they're from a garage.
yeah, no.
They are.
Yeah. Thanks for saying that, Victoria. Sorry, Felicity, about that. The flowers just didn't cut it tonight. They're kind of ridiculously high, aren't they?
They're very high.
I think we're all high on the joy.
Yeah, high on the chart.
So we've had nights with angel channeling, we've had nights talking about fame, we've had so many things, and let's just, all that appreciation in your hearts, give it to her and give her a big welcome. Keep going, keep going. Oh! I think the mics are better, I think.
Paul,
You're very welcome. It's great to have you.
thank you so much. It's great. to
Love
have you.
having you as a guest. We
Love
really do.
having- I haven't actually had you, but
Yeah.
I'm
Somebody's.
sure it's great for some.
Yeah. I have a list here. I'll pass it around. Of who's had me, of who's had me. What is going on here tonight?
No, it's just
My God.
things have changed here, haven't they? It used to be so serious.
It used to be a holistic spiritual event, but it seems to have gone off the rails slightly. My God. Okay. Yeah.
Whose lines? Oh, I love that.
So, Victoria, you're very welcome.
Have you
That
ever-
was a
you
nice
ever- anyone
meditation.
See that thing with the red book? What was that called? This Is Your Life? Is anyone old enough to see? I love that. We should do that.
We could do that if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring in the red book. Where are we going to start?
You tell me.
Yeah, with a question,
You're
I
in front of-
suppose.
you're
With a
the boss.
question, I suppose. What do you think of her outfit?
Oh,
Very cool, isn't it?
Thank you.
It's very cool. It's very cool. So where do I want to start? Let's
I
start
brought-
with.
I brought a new painting. Because I just thought it'd be nice to decorate the place a bit. Maybe it's her. Maybe she's the one causing all the fuss.
Who is what? Who is this actually? Tell us who this is.
She's called Petrea. And she is one of the joy ones. You could like, there's all these joy
Ah.
angels that just bring this kind of bubbly kind of energy. Very light. Yeah. Could be.
I love the colors.
I like
Beautiful
the colours
colors. Yeah.
too. I like the pink and the lilac.
And I like her eyes, turquoise. I like that. So
And in case I forget, I'm having an exhibition of angel paintings tomorrow at the Irish Georgian Society, which is on South William Street. And the opening party is tomorrow at 6 o'clock. So anyone who comes along and says I was at the positive night can get in.
oh,
Yeah.
very glam. And is there free scoops and everything there?
There's free scoops. Yeah. Yeah.
And this
And
little bit the
potatoes,
grub and the little
potatoes.
kind of potato, is it?
Potatoes.
That's what you're doing? And to be all famous people, all our mates will be there, all the famous heads.
Printing with a pint of beer and a potato. There you go.
So channeling, that's where I think we'll start.
Okay.
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 So yeah. So
Before you start
yeah.
questioning me,
It's very hard to interview her.
tell you. Can I just tell you a little story? So I was telling this to Paul earlier on. So I used to work at the Sunday Independent as a journalist, and I got to interview all kinds of interesting people like Deepak Chopra and Paulo Coelho and all these kind of people. But one of the most interesting ones I interviewed was called Swami Balendu, and he was 27 and he was Indian, and he had just spent 3 years bricked into a cave in the Himalayas. Like literally bricked in, so that he could pass his feces through a hole and they could pass food and water through, to him. So he stayed in there voluntarily, just meditating for 3 years. And even when his mother died, he refused to come out. Now, I know that's not an unusual thing. I'm sure lots of people would not come out. But anyway, he, not looking at anyone in particular. But when he did come out, he had this amazing quality of bliss that he was just emanating. And it was just, he didn't speak very much. You just sit there and you just feel this bliss. And it was something like the feeling we were getting here before he started talking. That just lovely, just like that lovely unspoken joy. And you know, he said, you know, when I start talking, I kind of bring the energy down. So I like to just sit maybe for 2 or 3 minutes and not say anything. And then people get my vibe. And then when I start talking, they go into their head straight away and they start analyzing what I'm saying and thinking about it. You know, I think that the channeling thing is very much about making little gaps, like a 2 or 3 minute gap where you are just in between your thoughts. So you're not actually actively engaging with any thoughts, you're just in between, kind of suspended and sort of just wait, kind of an expectant state. And it's in those little gaps that the information, the guidance, the downloads, they all come through, because that's when you're not clear, you know, chattering in your mind and like interfering. You know, it's like that interference thing. I don't know if that answered your question, because you didn't even get to ask a
I
question.
didn't get to ask any questions, but it's,
Totally.
yeah, it's like, you know, Eckhart Tolle, when he wrote a book, right, about the present moment.
Oh,
Like, it's not exactly, you know, you wouldn't invest in that, would you? You know, the now, right?
yeah.
But what I was thinking was, he asks, when he's like, sometimes when he do, you know, you see him doing these videos and he says, so, you know, when he's kind of doing meditations or whatever, so he'll say to a person, so because they're all in the present moment in the workshop, whatever, they're all just in the now, right? And he'll say, have you got any problems now? And
And they
people
say,
can't really find any problems. Now they're there, right?
Yeah.
If you want to go looking for them. But it's the like you said there about the gap in the thoughts.
Yeah.
It's that kind of the act of being in the present moment.
It's
You don't
empty.
have access then
Yeah.
to the problems in a sense.
You're right. You don't, because the problems are really thoughts, aren't they? They're ideas. They're not real. They're sensations sometimes, but the sensations have to be interpreted in order to become problems. Like, for example, has anyone ever had Botox here? Nobody's going to put their fucking hands up, are they? One person at the back and him. Okay, so I've had Botox multiple times. I can tell you that it's painful, but it's not the same kind of painful as if somebody was like stabbing you or injecting you for like hospital type reasons, because it's a pain that you're paying for and you've got this like idea that this is going to be amazing. So it's a totally different kind of pain. I mean, I think people who have children sometimes say that childbirth is painful, but because of the end product, it's a different kind of pain to maybe being beaten up or something. I don't know. You're agreeing with me. It's a different kind of pain. There's some beauty associated with it. So your mind is saying, this isn't really pain. It's a different thing. It's like a process or something.
And then when you're much more conscious by, like, first birth, obviously horrendous, but when you become more spiritual and when you're in the moment and really feel the birthing of your child, it is actually incredibly, it's, you know, I would almost say not, there is a moment that is painful, but it is incredibly connecting. It just,
Yeah.
you feel so empowered with
Yeah.
your own body.
Yeah.
You know, there's a great quote from Eckhart Tolle where he says, the problem is never the thing itself, it's your thoughts about
About
it.
it. Yeah.
Do people actually believe that in this room? That's like, would you have an experience of that?
Hmm.
But it's still a problem, right?
Depends what you're thinking about.
yourself think about it as
Hmm.
well. That critic, that inner critic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just my
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
So it's
You're right.
the whole lot around it, and you could just say, well, look, not even gonna go there. You know, just
Yeah.
get back to
Yeah.
quiet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then it just seems to disperse itself and fixes itself.
True.
So is it really, do we actually have no problems then? Is it really only the thoughts?
Well,
Experience.
like, I mean, I guess what I've noticed recently from my meditations is that I go very quickly into a state where I'm just in bliss, and it's very physical. It's like a orgasmic kind of state, and it's really blissful and joyful, and it's very present, and there are there's no problems, there's no challenges. But as soon as I come back and start thinking about regular things, everyday
Yeah.
things, then all the problems are there. They're still there where I left them. But it's getting easier and easier to go, I suppose, into a bigger version where those things don't really exist. Because they only really exist in the mental realm. They don't exist in the spiritual realm.
Yeah, they operate at a certain frequency, I think. It's
Yeah.
like a lower frequency,
Hmm.
not necessarily lower as in worse than, but just the actual frequency they inhabit.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
so what we just did there collectively, we inhabited a different
we
frequency.
did. Yeah.
Right? But
Gentleman there wants to speak.
which fella?
But yeah,
There.
but I guess though, as there's problems, it's like you have to have challenges in life to evolve and grow. It's just how you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Lower frequency,
Yeah.
Yeah.
higher frequency.
You're right.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah.
even though we did that thing, I was gonna say there, even though we did that kind of, that was a nice frequency, right? But I think the thing is, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Thoughts? We don't have
You don't
thoughts.
have any man thoughts. No.
I'd like to, like, who's on next? I mean, how are you gonna follow this? So what I wanted to say was, you used the word bliss, right?
Yeah.
So you come out of the bliss state and you go back to, as you say, like a little bit of reality.
Mm.
But is there a kind of a, like, are we looking for a place where we have no attachment to any of these kind of states, that we just inhabit them when we want? Is that kind of,
That sounds like a good plan. to
that's a
me.
good one, isn't
That's a
it?
good plan.
Because everybody wants bliss, enlightenment
Yeah.
and all,
Yeah.
but you can't stay there.
No, unfortunately. You can't. No.
And you wouldn't want to though, Victoria.
You get bored.
Yeah.
You would. You would. And you just want to have like problems really to keep you going. Keep your leaves.
Like hands up who'd want to stay in a permanent state of bliss.
One person.
Really? Okay, well, you're at the wrong event. There's another one on downstairs. You're actually at the right event at the moment, the way it's going. Permanent states, yeah. So we were
Yeah.
kind of lightly inhabiting everything really for the experience rather than getting caught up in one particular thing.
Well, I suppose it's a bit like watching Netflix. You know, you watch something on Netflix and you're enjoying the drama and people are getting killed and people are, you know, all this stuff. But it's because that's entertainment, right? So it's the same as life, I guess.
Yeah.
People are getting killed, that's entertainment.
I don't know what you're watching on Netflix, but like that. Jesus. Huh?
Diplomat, I mean, the diplomat, I love that.
It's a lot of violence, yeah.
Love the violence.
Yeah, when you see, it's rare you see something really without violence lately, isn't it? It's kind of interesting, yeah. Are we being programmed? So, yeah, well, we're not staying in it though.
Sophia was saying to me as well, the same idea, the higher and lower astral, it's either you tune into one or the
Yes,
other. But
yes.
we don't actually have thoughts, we're just tuning.
we're tuning.
Yeah.
in.
So if you
Yeah.
choose where you,
Yeah,
and that's it. So
Yeah.
then if you stay in the higher frequency, then you'll just be in a better space.
Yeah.
but one thing I have noticed about it is that when we're doing this ascension process, which we're all doing, that our minds can get really freaked out, you know, really freaked out. Like you practically have a nervous breakdown sometimes because your thoughts go like, fucking hell, what the fuck is going on? It's like, you know, and so the love frequencies, the appreciation, the love, the compassion, the kindness, they're just so important. Like the higher you go, the more you need love and the more you need kindness and softness and gentleness and compassion, but especially with yourself and with your own mind and your processes. Because really your mind is kind of like a 13-year-old, I think. You know, it's like everything is really important and really serious and like, what? What's Paul thinking? Oh no, what's he thinking? He's looking at me.
Mm,
Fuck, what's he? You know, it's like, it's really intense, isn't it?
yeah,
And it gets more intense the more you increase the energy.
yeah,
So you could end up really paranoid.
yeah. So
You just have to have that softness with yourself, like, it's okay. I'm just gonna lie down and watch something on Netflix. Drink some chocolate or something. You know, you just need chocolate, don't you?
Yeah, like, yeah, I think those inhabiting, where we're talking about those states, those higher states, they will definitely give you the tools to deal with the lower states. So it is good to just practice them as much as you can,
Mm.
particularly with what we are going through. We're definitely going through something,
are,
aren't we?
Yeah.
What are we going through?
Well, you know, it's weird because a lot of people talk about this as being a negative thing. Like, oh no, the energy's too intense. Like, oh no, it's all speeding up too fast. And oh no, we need to slow it down. But actually, when I tune, I feel that there's so much more benevolence coming through us than ever before, than I've ever experienced before. When I say benevolence, I mean love, I mean support. There's just so much more of it. I think maybe because we're more open to beings from other dimensions who want to support us, that we actually have both. We've got, like, we're on the fast track, but we've also got like 1,000,000 times more support. So we can do it. It's safe. We're not going to burn out. You know, we're actually fully equipped. We wouldn't have chosen to be here if we didn't know we could do it. Thoughts on that?
Good thoughts. Thoughts.
Yeah.
So that brings us to talk about, I'd like to talk a little bit about what you said to me before. So when Shane was ill, everybody knows that Victoria was with Shane, yeah?
Mm.
And when Shane was ill, you said to me, this is the last time we did an event, that you were very worried about how you would be when he actually left here.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't ever let myself think about it, because if I did think about it, I would have felt that would be too horrific for me to cope with, like as a human. And like in some ways it was, because it was the worst in that sense of like emotional distress and horror and the feeling that I couldn't cope. You know, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm just going to die, or I'm going to have to kill myself or something like that. You know, it was really, really, really intense.
That's a bit of a nuisance, isn't it? Having to kill yourself.
It is.
Mm.
Absolutely. So, but at the same time, like almost in the same moment, and this is a trick Sophia taught me, she would say, you know, when you're in those moments, you just surrender to your soul, and then your soul takes over, and it starts to show you its perspective. So it's like you have this other perspective on things. And so even in the actual moment of his passing, I could see his joy and I could see his delight when he was kind of looking up at the light, and it was just, he was like enraptured by it. And I couldn't feel really bad because he was feeling really good. And I could see him going, wow, amazing. It's like, you know, for him, it'd be a bit like watching him do drugs, you know, where he like really enjoyed taking drugs because he liked getting out of his head, literally. I mean, that's why a lot of people take drugs, to get out of their heads and just going into the cosmos, as he called it, and exploring it and just being like really free and being able to be everywhere all at the same time, or be spirit, be consciousness, pure consciousness. So I was completely aware of his soul and my soul going, yes, this is great, this is what he needs, this is like, he's delighted, he's free, and he's on his path, and you're also on your path, and this is part of your path, is to experience this and to find your joy within it, like find your own harmony, your own soul connection within something that you would have thought was the worst thing ever, you know.
And you're describing there how he left. Where was that, at home with you,
No,
or?
I was in the hospital.
Okay, and what was that? I didn't ever ask you that, or I suppose obviously you're not going to ask someone that. Really, was that a really how you would have wanted to be, or what was it like?
Because he was just how do you mean?
Was it just you and him together?
No, we were in the intensive care unit.
Okay.
So nobody thought he would die. Everybody thought they were getting him better and getting him home. You know, so that was the whole point of him being in hospital.
And did you feel that too?
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he thought it. He thought it. I thought it. Brian and Joan were with me. They were there. They thought it too. So there was no point where we thought that he was not going to come out of the hospital. You know, and when they said, "Oh, we have to put him in intensive care," that was freaky. But, you know, I always thought, well, Shane always pulled through. He always had before. You know, he'd been in hospital so many times, and there'd never been a time when he didn't pull through. So I think that was actually a good thing for all of us, was to not have that fear that he wouldn't pull through. Because then it just came like boom, like this. And then when he just left, and it was like he was up there floating around, like going, yay, this is amazing. And literally just total joy. And even at the funeral, like we could see, like I could see him floating around on the roof of the church and just being delighted and so happy with all the stuff that happened at the funeral and all the funny stuff with the Barry's tea and all the, you know, it was just actually a really delightful funeral, even though it was a funeral and it shouldn't be delightful, it's meant to be sad, but it's actually sad and happy at the same time. So it's like that dual experience, which is human. It's like sometimes it's shit and also brilliant. Isn't it weird? So weird.
Yeah, I like funerals. Some people like funerals. I quite like them. Anybody else like funerals?
Yeah.
They're kind of celebrations as well, a bit, you know?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, you don't really want, it's like you don't want, I mean, it's like you don't want to do exams or you don't want to do your tax return. The things you don't want to do, really.
Yeah.
Funerals is probably one of them, especially close loved ones.
And did you feel a lot of people, when they talk about someone very close to them leaving, that they feel like they're kind of on autopilot when they're at the funeral and not really in their body? Or did you feel quite present? Like, how did you feel?
Very present.
Did you?
Yeah, I
Wow.
felt like I was totally in my, I suppose, soul self. You know, I was very much in appreciation. I loved everything about all the people who were there, and I loved that they showed up, and I loved the music, and I loved the dancing, and I loved that Shane was joyful, and I could feel him. Like, it was very visceral how much I could feel him. So no, I felt more present. I felt like in almost like a channeling state, like just really very in the moment.
I mean, there was so much love for him, you know. It was kind of, did that
Yeah.
blow you away? Like, or were you very aware of that?
No, 'cause I wasn't aware of it. I mean, I think Shane was probably a little bit aware of it, but not as much as as that. You know, I mean, it wasn't like you go to a restaurant and people might say, "Can I have a selfie or something?" But they wouldn't go, "I love you." Like, you know, there wasn't that outpouring of love from so loads and loads and loads of people. That was very surprising in a beautiful way.
Yeah. I mean, does it make you think, why do we save all that up for a funeral in a sense?
I suppose, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could decide, like, I remember Shane's father decided that he would like to have his funeral before he died, so that he could get to have the drinks, you know? And I suppose you could arrange your own funeral and you could sit there in a coffin and let everyone tell you how great you are. But is that what?
Sounds like a good idea, actually. But I mean, he had many kind of tribute nights, you know, Late Late Show and all celebrating his life. So
Yeah.
that must have been like a big outpouring of love as well.
Yeah, I mean, I felt very supported. You know, I went to the Carnegie Hall concert and it was just so beautiful to see all these people making such an effort and doing the songs and knowing that they couldn't really do the songs as well. And, you know, just all these people really being amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I wanted to ask you as well, like so that was a whirlwind in the church. Some of us saw that on TV. There was incredible music and
Yeah.
like, you know, in a church you don't normally see that, right?
No, you really don't.
I'd say that was some concert, right?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, it was.
Was there any particular moments that really stick in your mind?
I think the Barry's tea is the one that sticks in my mind. The
The
priest-
Barry Sea?
So the priest, like, you know, they have these things
the
like their
offerings,
gifts,
not
they call them
offerings,
offerings or whatever. So you have to bring up things that the person that would have been important to the person in their life. So we have Barry's tea because he was obsessed with tea. And so the priest held up some Barry's tea and he was like, this is really important. So it was quite comical at times.
Wow. And so since he's left, yeah. Oh, well, he's just gone somewhere else. You've obviously had a few trips to contact him, right?
Yeah, so
Different mediums and
Yeah.
different psychics.
yeah, amazing.
Mm.
I mean, I always knew that we would be able to communicate with each other because we did a lot of telepathic communication when we were alive. So, you know, we sent each other energy, we would read each other's minds, we would do a lot of experiments like that. And I'm a huge fan of Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks, and when Jerry died, I could see, you know, she was kind of going through the same sort of thing that I imagined I would go through, where she'd be really upset, really angry for a while, and then she would start talking to him, and then she'd start like getting closer and closer. And I could feel with Shane that he was sitting in the chair with me all the time at home, kind of waiting for me to try to communicate with him, and then he would try to communicate with me, and he'd be like, write this down, write this down. So I'd start, get a pen and write it down, and it would be very much his vibe, like this kind of urgency, like, come on, get this done. But one of the things he said to me was how important presence is when you want to communicate. So getting into that gap between the thoughts is where it all is, because it's all in the now, like all of it. And we think of time as being, you know, he was here last year and he's not here now, but actually he's here now and he is also here in the future and in the past, and it's all one big thing. But it's in those gaps that you can really actually
You can feel his presence in those when you're.
feel his presence
Yeah.
all the time, but I can feel him being able to actually communicate and like put real thoughts.
So
down.
is he around you now?
Oh yeah, I mean he comes to all my gigs.
Yeah.
And he helps me with my gigs, definitely.
Okay, just make
Yeah.
sure he pays in for this. Um, yeah, what's he saying now? Has he got anything to say?
He is just saying how he always says, and it makes me almost want to cry. He just always tells me how great I am and how great I'm doing and how beautiful I am. And I could go on, but it's very supportive.
You know, in a way, it's a fantastic love that you guys had. You know, you can really
We still
feel
have
it. You
it.
know, yeah, of course. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
mean to say, yeah, it's not in the past. It's always there.
I feel like that's not like people say, oh, that's weird that you have that, but I think we all have it, you know. You know, you've got people you love and you feel really strongly about, and you can sense them. Like, you know, you might be thinking about someone who's not in this room and you're sending her a vibe and she's picking that up, you know, and we all do it all the time. Like we send vibes to our kids, we send vibes to our parents or to our friends or to our dogs, whatever it is. But we're doing it all the time, you know, we're communicating energetically with each other. And who was it? It wasn't Eckhart Tolle, it was Deepak Chopra, I think, who did this experiment where he'd get somebody to go outside the room. No, it's actually not. It was Master Ko, Joan's teacher. Get someone to go outside the room, and then we would send a positive vibe to them, and they would really feel the energy. Or we might send a negative vibe to them, and they'd really feel the deflation. So it's very real. I mean, people don't take it seriously enough. This idea that you can influence somebody else with your thoughts and with your vibes. You know, we can easily lift somebody's energy, but we can just as easily bring it down with the.
They're protecting themselves somehow for that light that they try to, you know, the what do I call that?
Yeah.
Aura.
Yes,
Yeah.
the auric shield. Yeah.
It still goes.
Well, Joan will tell you more about that, but I feel she's asking if you can still penetrate the auric shield if someone has a shield. I feel like Master Ko, he's got that down, hasn't he? Yeah.
Something not so good. You know, you can't be this, that defending good energy, you don't need.
You don't need to shield. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. You can protect yourself. You can shield yourself. Yeah.
Like, I suppose that question is, do you need to ask the person for permission and all? We hear all this around when you do Reiki healing and all that kind of thing. I wouldn't get into it, like, would you?
You don't need to ask permission, but
Yeah.
they won't take it if they don't want it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. But to get back to the communication, so we are communicating with each other energetically, telepathically,
Yeah.
whether we know it or not. And, you know, one of your friends would be like, oh, I was just thinking about you, and then you phoned. And that's just a tiny example of it.
I'd like to know a moment since he passed where you got some unbelievable information from maybe a medium or psychic or yourself or from him, and that just was like, wow, that's really blown you away.
Honestly, to me,
Yeah.
the wow stuff was the really deep stuff. It was like, you know, he asked me to not watch so much TV. He said, could you try not to watch so much TV? Could you turn off the telly? And then he said, I know I'm one to talk because I used to have the telly on all the time. But now I'm here, I'm really aware of how important it is to turn it off. And so he got me to try like gaps without the telly, because I would just automatically turn it on and leave it on. And he'd be like, no, if you try the gaps without the telly, then you'll have more space and stuff will come. And he was like trying to get me to write songs. And he's going, I really want you to write songs. I'm going to channel songs to you. So I started playing the guitar, and I found that when I'm playing the guitar, I'll suddenly be like just playing it really fast, and I'll be like, this is Shane's guitar, it's not me. You know, like I'm learning all these rock and roll songs that I would never have learned out of choice, but they're coming to me. It's like, oh, you got to learn this, like, you know, so I could feel all this energy. And Sinead as well, she was like talking to me as well and saying, I really want you to sing, really, really want you to sing, and I'm going to give you stuff to sing. So I think that, you know, that maybe there's something in that, you know, people, they want to enhance your life. So they give you weight, they're like, I really want to help you to feel good. Here's something you can do that's going to make you feel good. Turn off the telly, pick up the guitar, play some Buddy Holly, you know. Like, yeah.
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the main kind of
That's
thing
the
that you're
thing,
loving,
because
yeah.
that's the thing that's probably giving me the most joy,
Yeah.
is this sudden, like obsession almost with music, which I didn't really have. Like I would be, you know, Shane would watch a lot of music on YouTube and stuff. And I'd be like, can we just go back to like the Diplomat or House of Cards or something? Because I like violent stuff. And he'd be like, oh no, I want to watch this. But now I'm like, I want to watch Rod Stewart in the Faces in 1973 live at Hammersmith or whatever. It's like, and sometimes I know it's not really me wanting to watch. You know, I don't know.
That's kind of weird,
It's
isn't it?
weird, isn't it?
Watch
But
the
it's
telly
something-
for someone else, like. Really.
Oh, I went to see Bob Dylan the other night, and I could feel Shane just so excited because he's like, oh my God, he's doing Along the Watchtower, like he's doing this. Such an obsession.
Where was Dylan on?
In the Albert Hall.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, we're having a Christmas party here, you know. Would you come in and do a song?
Maybe, I don't know. We'll
Wouldn't
see.
that be amazing?
I don't know. I'm not going to say yes.
Doing Mandinka last night with band.
Mandinka. Wow. That's going to be our house band, and it's going to be like a kind of a talk show vibe for the crack, you know.
That's fine.
Yeah, so that's the house band, yeah. And you'd be a great guest. Your first song, wow.
I'd probably charge you too much.
Okay. That is true. That is true. What is Shane doing now? Wherever he's hanging out? Did he tell you about the dimension? Has he got a house? Has he got a few mates?
Got a
What's
lot of
happening?
mates. He's writing music and he's writing songs and she's doing the same kind of thing that he was doing here. So it's you don't necessarily change. Like Sinead is the same. She said to me, I'm still very active. I'm still gonna cause a lot of trouble and I'm still gonna fuck it up for those fuckers. You know, so it's weird that people don't necessarily change that much. I mean, when I channeled John Lennon a long time ago when I was learning to channel, and he just wanted to talk about Yoko. It was like, Yoko, nobody understands, like, you know, she's an artist, and like nobody understands how brilliant she is, and people are so mean to her and those fuckers. And it was just like, that was exactly the kind of thing John Lennon would have said in real life. It was like all about Yoko.
You know, so how do you know whether that's the question, like, is it kind of like
Do you think
thoughts?
you're making it up?
No, I don't think you're making it up. I just think is it the person or is it kind of some thought forms knocking around, you know?
I felt weirdly, I obviously never met John Lennon, but I could feel him very, very physically. Like it was like I could smell him and I could sense his energy really, really strong. And the way he sounded, the way he phrased things, it just felt real. And what he said. And I wouldn't have had any clue what he was going to say. You know, I just thought, well, I'll talk to him and see what he says. But he was like on it straight away. I want to talk about Yoko. So okay. It's weird.
It's definitely weird.
It's
And
definitely-
in relation to grief, okay, so you've obviously had times where it was tough.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, you've no idea. It was the toughest thing. And it was so physically painful. Like so, like I was literally, my ribs were in agony as though I'd broken them or something. Really, really, really painful.
And were you still able to keep in a high kind of frequency going through that, or?
Yes, I think what happened was that, see, we're not either in a high or a low. It's not either or. It's all at the same time. So we're experiencing all of it, and our mind goes into a specific bit. You know, like our mind goes into the carpet, like our mind's totally in the carpet right now. But it doesn't mean that the rest of us isn't here. So the rest of us is watching our mind go into the carpet, and then eventually it comes out of the carpet and it goes up to the camera thing, and then it goes up to the ceiling, but like we're all of it is still here, aware of all that. And it's kind of like sometimes you need to go to those places, you need to go into the howling, rolling around on the floor, letting the tears out. And sometimes those tears that you're letting out are not just about this particular person.
Yeah.
They're about everything that's ever happened in your life that's made you sad. And it could be really a lot to do with when you were a kid, a small child, you know, being abandoned or feeling lost or feeling unsupported. And all those feelings are going to come out in grief. So grief is a really complicated way of, it's like clever and complicated, and it's a way of opening those doors.
It's a really interesting topic because I think I don't know, but it could be an interesting way for you to go because the way your attitude to it when you're on the Brendan O'Connor show, like it's almost like he was kind of saying, well, you know, people are still in pain. Like you
Yes.
have to remember that, Victoria. He didn't want you to go too like your approach to it was so like, but I was interested in the sense that the veil is thinning, right? We do seem to, a lot of us now have good intuitions. We seem to be able to
Yeah.
connect with something.
Yeah.
So just watching you go through this, you know, it's like, I mean, is it possible to be even closer to someone when they pass?
Yeah,
Or as close?
I think you're closer in, you know, when you meet somebody else, there's a soul connection straight away, and you probably have already contracted, if it's going to be your life partner, you've contracted it. So you recognize them and you feel familiar, it's a familiar feeling, like, okay, I know this, this is my person, I'm going to be with them. And sometimes your more human kind of personality interactions can feel very separate. It's like, you know, why have you got the remote? I want the remote, fuck you. You know, it's like much more separate, kind of like antagonistic sometimes, and not really understanding or not really empathizing and not really embracing that person. But when you're not in your personality, when you're just in your soul, your energy, then you have nothing but harmony and joy and love and understanding. So what I noticed in my relationship with Shane, and I don't know if it's unusual, is that we would fight, but then we would immediately look at each other and go, this is ridiculous. We love each other. Like, we fucking love each other, you know? So we couldn't stay in any kind of argument for any length of time. We could never resent each other. We could never really hold any kind of grudges. We could never stop speaking to each other. You know, there was always this like, this is ridiculous, you know. So I don't know if that's unusual, but I think that's just your soul going like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. I suppose you've got like, you know, when we talk about soulmates and twin flames and all these kind of terms, you know, you've definitely had a number of lives with Shane, I would imagine, yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Have you had information around that? Or
I got told a few, we were soldiers together in Scotland in the 17th century. We were both men. That's only one of them, but I'm sure there's loads. I mean, Sophia told me that I killed him in another life. Maybe I did, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
It seems like we go around with the same kind of gang, you know what I mean?
You do, yeah.
Do you think that, yeah?
Absolutely.
Do people think that, yeah?
Yeah.
Same gang, you do with a new gang, couldn't you?
I mean, you could get new ones totally if you want.
Yeah.
You don't have to hang out with the ones you don't like.
It depends how far you go in your growth on air.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
you go to a certain point where you've been pushed to the depths of yourself
Yes,
to really grow.
yes,
Then you're going to attract. You're not going to have maybe the same drive that you had
Yeah.
in your other life.
Right,
You know, that's just mine.
yeah.
don't know. Honestly, don't know.
Well, you did well when you think about it, but I'd like to ask you when you walked, I've heard you talk about this before, but when you first met him,
Yeah,
did you like, this is weird, like, did you get a real vibe?
yes, like a really weird vibe, a really strong, like, this person is very significant, really significant. And then there was this pull towards him all the time. So I had to kind of go where he was and hang out. And a lot of the time I was stalking him, basically. I mean, I would honestly go to his house and sit outside. And just because I wanted to be there. So
Was that a thing you did though with kind of rock stars at the time?
No,
No,
no, he wasn't a rock star when I met him.
Oh,
No, he was just the band were just starting out, and like they didn't have any money or anything, you know, they had this energy that people were very attracted to. It was very strong, charismatic kind of energy, but not like famous or anything, you know.
But you definitely had a knowing feeling kind of thing when you saw him.
Magnetism, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Has anybody else experienced that magnetism feeling with me? We weren't expecting that, Reese. You weren't expecting that. See the way I just led them in like that. I didn't even know I was going to say that. I didn't even know I was going to say that.
I'm sure loads of people feel that way about you.
Oh, thank you, Victoria. That's so nice.
But these people are shy, they don't want to say it.
I think what's interesting is that you can have that connection with somebody, but you can still love someone from a distance. You don't have to be physically together, you know, to still feel that love.
Yeah,
Do you know what I'm saying? Because not every relationship works out. Not every spark of chemistry, right indoors moment
yeah,
happen in our
Yeah.
lives. I got on a different train.
yeah,
They got on a different train. We had a connection. And
absolutely.
you can still have
Yeah.
that. I don't think that feeling or vibration of love goes away or dissipates.
No, you're right.
Yeah, nicely
I
said.
used to feel that way. I mean, like sometimes you meet people and maybe it's just because like Sinead, for example, I wasn't a lover of hers, I was a friend of hers, but her energy when I first met her made the hairs literally stand on end. I mean, it was like, what the fuck, who is this? But it's just her intense, beautiful, like warrior energy. So beautiful.
Yeah, like it's nice to talk. I wasn't expecting to talk about her, but that's nice that you brought it up. I met her once as well in the Olympia. I used to manage a rock band and we were playing there and she was on the bill.
Mhm.
And all I remember is the eyes. They were like
Mm.
10 times the size of my eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Her
yeah.
eyes were huge. And she was
huge.
sitting in the dressing room. But she looked really small and like
Yeah, she's tiny. Tiny.
like the power that she had when she walked out on the stage was like a million times more than her
Yeah.
personality. Was that the way she
Yeah.
was in life too?
Yes, yeah, she was very shy, very awkward, very insecure, and like really kind of dressed down and tried to hide a lot. But then she'd walk on the stage and be like,
Powerhouse. Like that scene, and did anybody see the movie where she walks out and she defies the audience? That moment.
Yeah.
Uh,
She lifts up the post.
I think Chris Christopherson gave her a bit of a
Yeah.
hug or something.
Yeah.
Is that the guy?
yeah,
Yeah.
That's an incredible moment. I didn't
Yeah.
even know that
yeah.
because at the time we weren't paying attention. Did you? Did
Oh
you know?
yes, I remember because I knew her then. So,
Okay.
yeah, like wow, amazing.
Like
Absolutely.
that's some balls, to stand up
Yes.
to the world
Yes.
on a stage, So
Yeah,
well done, Sinead. Yeah, fair play. And still rebel rousing wherever she is now. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, cool. So, we'll take a break in a minute, but before we do, Victoria, what about what you're doing now? You're about to do a show, right? You have
Yeah.
all these amazing art pieces that you
Yeah.
do. What's going on with all of that? Like, where's all that coming from? What's the feeling you get when you do it? What's happening?
It's interesting because the feeling I get when I'm doing it is that I am not in control of it at all. I don't know what I'm doing. It's very weird. It's just like, it's almost like having somebody use your body and make you do things, and you're like, what am I doing? And because I'm not in any way a trained artist, it feels like I have absolutely no clue. When I move a pencil, I'm just like, is this a nose? What is it? It's an eye? And then stuff like this just comes out. So I have
Definitely a
no control.
nose anyway. I can
Yeah,
see
there's
it.
a nose, there's eyes, there's like wings, but they just seem to come out. And when I showed them to Sophia, she started crying and she said, oh, I know these people, I know these beings, like I'm familiar with them, I've met them. And I'm like, wow, that's so weird because I don't know who they are, but she knows who they are.
Yeah, if you want to hear some magic, talk to
So
Sophia. If
magic,
anybody knows her, she's like, she's really out there, but it's amazing stuff at the same time.
But it's been really nice. I mean, I started doing it in 2019. And at first I was doing one every day and writing the name and the message and the whole thing. And gradually it sort of tapered off and I would do one every month or so. But there's a lot of them now, and they've all got names and they've all got messages, jobs that they do. And you can talk to them or you can just meditate with them and they'll kind of influence you. And one of the ones which I made into a scarf, the one that Joan is wearing down there.
Joan, could you come
Stand
up
up
please and
there.
model that please here? This
So
is
that one-
Joan wearing a beautiful
She-
scarf by Victoria Mary Clarke.
Yes, that she's called Gayla Treya, and she's about putting you on your path. So she's an angel of inner guidance, but her job is to put you on your path. So she'll kind of push you to do stuff that you might have thought, oh no, I would never do that. Like for example, painting or whatever it is, but it's like takes away the insecurities that are in your way and the doubts that are in your way and just goes like, right, you're meant to be doing this. And so that was very helpful to have her because I wouldn't have ever planned to be an artist or a designer. It was like not in my plan, you know.
Well, that must be nuts that you're opening an exhibition tomorrow in a
Yeah.
proper venue,
Yeah.
like where art is out there all the time.
That's an arty venue.
yeah.
I've got a curator called Ishmael who's down here, down the back.
Okay.
And he's a proper curator. And so it's like a real thing. It's like weird.
And what other pieces are there? Is it mainly the angelic stuff or is there
Oh,
other
they're all
things?
angels.
Yeah.
They're all the ones which I channeled, and there's about 18 of them, I think. I can't remember.
Did I see photographs of Shane as well?
No, there's just one photo.
Oh, one
I
photo.
thought I'll put a photograph of him just
Oh,
to
nice.
kind
Yeah.
of honor him in the space because
Yeah.
he was very supportive of me doing that, and he really wanted me to have an exhibition. It was one of the things he kept nagging me to do because he used to think I was very lazy and that I didn't put myself out there enough. And
Are you putting yourself out there a lot more now?
I feel like I am, and it's actually a very good feeling because there's always resistance. Like, no, you don't want to do that. No, like people will judge you. And art critics are very harsh. Like they're almost the harshest out of all the types of critics because it seems like it's like a bit of a closed shop. You know, you're either an artist or you're not. Whereas you could make music and like anyone can make music, you know, and like anyone can make a film. But
And how does it work? Do people they go around, they watch, they look at all the paintings and are they all for sale and all this kind of thing?
they're all for sale.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Wouldn't it be cool if somebody bought
Yeah, I
them?
know. Do you feel
That'd
kind of
be
nervous
great.
about it? Yeah. Yeah.
I'm really nervous.
I'd say you'll sell the whole thing.
I think so. Yeah.
These will all buy one between them, probably.
They will. They will.
So, is that going to be at the show as well, or?
Actually, no, because that was one I needed to have for myself because I didn't want to live without them all because I really like them. I mean, I wake up in the morning and I look and there they are and it's like, hey, my friends, you know, I don't want them to leave home, go out into the world.
Could we maybe have some of the scarves and just pass them around so people can have a look, one or two of them, knock them around
Of
there?
course you can.
Yeah.
Jess,
And-
do you mind? She's going
Jess.
to pass them around.
Yeah.
Here comes the lovely Jess. with
Lovely
some-
Jess. Pass a couple around for people and yeah, let's
I
see.
think, like for anyone who feels like I know there's something that I'm meant to be doing and there's something I'm here for and I don't quite know what it is, it's really helpful to focus on that. Like just go, okay, show me, push me, you know what I mean? Give me a push, like get rid of some of my doubts, just shove me onto the path. Because once you're on the path, it feels really very like, hey, it's kind of exciting. There's an aliveness that comes with doing things that are outside your comfort zone. Like
Right.
even coming here tonight, I was terrified. I swear, I really
Were
was.
you really?
Absolutely terrified. No, that's going to be awful. People are going to hate it. Paul's going to hate you. You know, they're all going to hate you. It's like there's all these thoughts come, and they're stupid thoughts, but they're still there. You know.
I like what you're doing with the art though, because you're moving into that creative space, that flow space, that play space. Because
Yeah.
when you get, like you said there, people are going to judge me and all. That's
Yeah.
what happens as an adult, right? But as a
Yeah.
child, you just kind of go,
Dude,
like you just paint something with like that on it, like, and
Yeah.
you go, that's great, you know? Just play, isn't it?
yeah.
Just go for it.
And when you're a kid and you do art, your parents go, "It's brilliant. Oh, isn't he fantastic? Look at Paul's picture I've got on the fridge." and
I
look at that."
know, they were brilliant though.
Yeah.
Where are they?
Huh?
Yeah, where are they now?
I'm having an art exhibit. I'm going to put one on. I'm going to put one on. If Victoria can do it, I'm doing it.